everyone, and welcome to episode 91 of Lesbian Talk. And we have a special guest here, don't we, Omega?
You'll just never guess who it is. Just never.
Yes, and in fact, could you, our special guest, introduce yourself in the form of a crazy demonic dog you once played in an animated movie?
Hi, Amanda. It's slowed down and pitch shifted and shit, so it doesn't sound exactly right, but that's as good as I can do.
I had a nightmare about that dog.
Me too.
Okay, everyone, this is Jimmy Screamer Claus, writer, director, voice actor, animator, and I'm sure a lot of other things on Where the Dead Gonna Die.
Yay! I'm on the talk show.
And, we're going to discuss the film in question. We're going to discuss, we're going to put the record straight in a couple of things where I fucked up, and we're going to discuss future projects and inspirations and probably some other random stuff.
Whatever you want. I'm here.
Are you excited, Omega?
I am so excited. I think I'd be a lot more excited if I hadn't just come off of 30 hours of work in 4 days.
Boo, work.
But they pay me.
Oh,
and they
yay,
pay me
money.
in pounds sterling, which is worth a lot more than dollars.
It is. It's almost double.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. It's double Canadian. We found that out last month.
Really?
Okay, Jimmy, so how did you find out about my review of your magnum opus?
Well, actually, I guess you announced it on the end of a different review. So for about 3 months, I'd get an email every now and then did you know Diamanda Hagen is going to review your movie? And I was like, no. And I just kept hearing about it over and over again. And eventually it just became a legend in my brain. And so then finally it came out, and I wake up and there's 5 different. Have you seen this yet? Have you seen this? Have you seen this review? So it was pretty hard for me to miss it.
Okay, well the people must be messaging you after I put it in my trailer, because at the start of a season I always list the films I'm doing so that people know what to expect. And then people obviously are like, it's going to come in next week. It's like, no, it's actually going to come down in 5 months' time, because I try to average them out every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember it was a while. It was a while that I was hearing about it.
Yeah, it was episode 5 out of 10. But,
so it was an early one.
Yeah, but then again, it takes me on average 2 weeks to do a single episode, so.
I see.
Okay, so what did I get wrong about this amazing piece of work?
Well, okay. You didn't get it completely wrong. It's just that at one point in your review, you stated that the film was sort of along the lines of a failed comedy. That
I think I said it was meant to be a comedy.
Or that it was meant to be a comedy, yeah.
Because I'd read that online somewhere.
Yes, okay. So ever since then, I've had to hear that every single day of my life. Not only have I had to hear it from people who, watch a review and then type back, but then, other reviewers who were trying to be the extreme reviewer or whatever just kind of took things from your review. So especially that statement. So that statement's been regurgitated and taken out of context through 5 or 6 reviews now.
Oh, I know that Hardcore Kid did a review. Is there other ones?
There's the Hardcore Kid, and there's this guy named Mr. Enter on YouTube, who apparently is huge, and I've never even heard of him. But he reviews children's animation, and my movie just set him off on some sort of spastic,
Wow.
It just fucked him up. He could not handle it. And he made a video about how he's not going to review it because it's too intense for him.
Oh, wow.
And the first thing he said was he made this as a comedy, but then added on to make fun of sexually abused children. So then there's about 4 or 5 people who want to be Mr. Enter. So, they all did the same exact thing then. So it became this weird legend that not only was the movie a failed attempt at a comedy, but the comedy was in me making fun of sexually molested children.
So if Mr. Enter got that from me, I apologize. He might have read it. I assume
he did, because I doubt that he listened to the commentary.
It's possible. Yeah, that might have been where I got it, because I did listen to the commentary.
Yes, well, because you're not completely wrong.
Okay,
it's just the way these kids think about it. It's almost like I tried to make a National Lampoon's comedy movie, and then I accidentally made Serbian film. It was just some fuck up on my part.
I hear that's what happened in Serbia.
Yeah, but
You should totally become a YouTube urban legend. People will be back in the first days of YouTube.
I kind
of am.
It was
a movie so extreme.
if you watch all those like from the animation crowd, like all the children's animation crowd, like that's what they all kind of think now. Like that's how they treat my movie.
Yeah,
it's some sort of urban legend.
The animation crowd and reviewers can be really weird.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely are.
Assuming that everything's childish. Like, for instance, I did a co-review with a nostalgia critic on heavy metal, and there was a long chain of people, talking about it and like being irritated by it, and all, assuming that I did animation and therefore I could not handle adult animation. Because I know that sort of there is this subculture of ones who can't handle adult animation. And it was just really surreal. It's like, why not?
Yeah. And like there really isn't much of it either. And when it is, it's mostly like comedies, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and all the Adult Swim stuff. There's not really many dramas or horror. There's action, like the animes and stuff, but.
Well, some animes do go into that. Like I haven't watched any, but my brother-in-law and my roommate, they watch a shit ton of anime.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there are a lot of other genres, just people in the States don't really ever watch them because they're not as exciting.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of anime, like ever. Like I don't get it at all, so I've missed a lot of those movies too.
Yeah, when it comes to anime, the only anime horror I can think of is Junji Ito's Gyo, and that's an adaptation of one of his mangas.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, apologies for that. If you want to set the record straight on exactly what you were attempting to do, you have the floor. Plus, you can insult me if you want.
No, I would never do that. I would never insult you. I love you, Diamanda. But, so what did I say? Basically, the story is that, like, when I made Tainted Milk, I never animated anything before. Like, the way Tainted Milk came about was I was releasing a record, because for years I did electronic techno music, and that's what I was doing while making that movie at the same time. So I was releasing a record, and I just wrote a little comic to go with it, and the comic was just a parody of Lassie. That's why the dog's name is Labby, the kid's name is Tommy instead of Timmy, and it revolves around, somebody being trapped in the well, like the common, like, oh, Timmy, somebody's trapped in the well, kind of thing, you know what I mean? So
I never even thought of that before. That did never.
So that's where Tainted Milk came from, and I wrote it like as a goofy horror Lassie comedy parody. And I just grabbed a bunch of my friends from the independent horror film community. I was just like, do some goofy voices. You can make up some of your own dialogue and stuff, and blah blah. We'll just make this funny little thing. And then while I was like, I'd never animated anything before, so I was learning how to animate each page at a time. I would just take it from the first page and just go, one scene at a time, one shot at a time, just blop, 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 blop until it was done. And as I was editing it, I was like, I could probably just make this into a straight horror movie if I just switched some stuff around, change the score. I had a laugh track in there, like a sitcom parody, and I cut that out. And then I just had this thing at the end. I just had this 17-minute movie. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I just started showing people, and it really, really upset people. Nobody laughed. Nobody thought it was funny but me. I still kind of think it's funny. I can't see how people take it seriously, but it's it upset so many people that I was like, well, what if, I'll try it again. What if I treat it more serious this time? So I made Liquid Memories over another year period, and I tried to treat that one more seriously, but I worried that all the surreal stuff would be goofy. So in that aspect, I was worried that people would think it was more funny than serious. And that's basically the same thing that happened with the third chapter as well.
Well, just to let you know, when we were watching the first chapter, I actually made the quip, wow, this reboot of Reboot has got really gritty. And then when we saw the second one, we had seen, I think what was the one that we saw with Roosevelt?
Oh,
and it was really
FDR,
hard.
American Badass?
Yeah, that was actually the second time that weekend we had seen somebody, in a sexual manner, jerk off someone's useless limbs.
Yes.
And I was like, how often do you get to say that in your life? And then by the third one, we were just gone. At least I was gone.
The first one, Tainted Milk, I could see the dark comedy in it, and I was having fun with it, being ha ha ha, ridiculousness, as I do, because I review this sort of shit all the time. It was just the constant barrage of these things getting darker and darker and slightly more real, at least when it comes to the drama parts. It sort of wore me down. So if I'd seen them as 3 individual short films, I think I would have had a more lighthearted reaction to them.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing them all together, and when we sat down to watch it, Omega hadn't seen any of it, and I'd seen the trailer at some point ages ago because someone had basically left a message on a forum saying, someone needs to review this. I ordered the film after seeing about 20 seconds of the trailer, and I didn't see the rest of the trailer. I'd forgotten what the film's about. I was like, I don't remember seeing any of this. Let's review this.
Well, that's good. That's
like,
a good way to
sure,
go
it'll
into
be
things,
great.
honestly. I like to go into movies not knowing really anything.
Sometimes when it comes to reviews, though, it's a mistake. I have almost every time I've reviewed a film without actually decided to review a film without actually seeing it first, it's been some sort of mistake. Whether Dead Gonna Die, the only mistake is in how much harm it caused me. But the review is, it and Chirpy are probably my two most famous reviews, which is nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody's definitely watching it because I hear about your review almost every day of my life. So somebody's watching you for sure.
Alas, I don't get any monetization on it on YouTube.
Neither do I. So neither one of us is making any money off that movie. But nobody wants you dead that I know of, anyway.
Pretty sure some people do.
Oh well. We'll just beat them to it and we'll kill them.
Hopefully, some of them will listen to this and they will realize that.
Well, that's kind of what I'm
If you would like to
hoping.
kill anyone, do not write the show.
I don't want to kill anyone. I have no homicidal tendencies whatsoever. I just want to make stupid cartoons. That's really the only desires I have. I don't do anything else with my life.
So, what was the inspirations for With It Ed? Because in Tainted Milk, I don't know if I consciously picked up on the Lassie connection, but I definitely subconsciously did because I used the Lassie theme in it. So, apart from that.
Okay, well, all right. One thing I kind of have to explain is that when I never started making it as a feature film. The way it happened was I had the first two shorts, Tainted Milk and Liquid Memories, and I was just sending them places. Like, I would just go on horror websites, and whoever, like, already had an address on the website, like somebody I didn't have to email first, I would just send it to them. And eventually one of those addresses ended up being Unearthed Films, who's run by Stephen Byro, and Stephen Byro called me on the phone and said, you know, I really love these two shorts, but they're only something like 60 minutes together. Can you come up with another half an hour we'll release as a feature? So then I spent the next year making the third chapter, but there was a long gap of time in between each. So it's like, that's why it's a little weird for me to kind of remember it all, because it's just the way it was made. And like, they're still like three completely different movies to me, the way I think about them in my head because of the way I made them. So it's like Tainted Milk was the whole Lassie thing, and I based on like, you know, old Christian propaganda films like the Ron Ormond films like Grim Reaper and A Footman Will Tire You, What Will Horses Do, all those kind of things. And then Liquid Memories was more based on like drug scare films. That was like the big influence on those.
Oh,
like
Reefer Madness and Cocaine Fiends and stuff.
More like the 80s ones where they were more like psychedelic, like that cartoon All Stars to the Rescue, like
Oh, I remember
all that shit. Like people take drugs and end up going to hell, like basically. So that's.
Do you know that actually, like, my mom said, "Oh, there's a really great show that on tonight that I really want you to watch," and it was when they aired the Cartoon All Stars drugs thing, and I was like, that's really weird because I don't like Papa Smurf like lectures the guy about taking drugs. I'm like, I don't ever recall Papa Smurf ever talking about drugs before.
Yeah, they never did before or after.
Whose canon is this? Why are the Ninja Turtles involved?
And George Bush introduced it in the beginning.
Oh my God.
George and Barbara Bush.
And that was, if I remember correctly, that was like the second episode the Nostalgia Critic did.
Yeah, apparently he did review that. Like, someone was talking about it years ago once, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. Why did Doug review it? Oh well.
Well, because it is nostalgic. Like that's like
I guess.
Yeah, that was
epitome of nostalgia.
But a lot of his fans weren't even conceived when that was shown.
Well,
I think that's kind of the point, though.
Yeah, he's being nostalgic for stuff that, in his original incarnation, he was being nostalgic for stuff whenever he was young.
Yeah.
And I think his first video was like Michael Bay's Transformers, which was done in a very different style, and that was his first properly nostalgic thing.
Interesting side note about the Nostalgia Critic. If you go on all his reviews now of animation, at least 2 or 3 threads of people saying, this isn't the worst animated film of all time. Where the Dead Go to Die is. You should review that one.
He totally should. That would be hilarious.
For you.
I think that might give him a mental breakdown in real life.
I mean, people have told... Okay, when I go to conventions, I usually bring a copy of Chirpy with me, and I try to get an audience who haven't seen it before, and I show it to them, and I record their reaction. And people have told me I should do that for Whether I Go to Die, but it's 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's long.
Chirpy's only 12.
I have a couple short films you could do that with. Did you ever see the video I did for Bush Pig, Butcher's Harem, the Australian rap group?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, it's banned from YouTube, so it's on Newgrounds, though. It got me kicked off Vimeo as well.
Jesus Christ, what have you done?
It's all sex gore. It's all just, there's nothing else to it. I just animated nonstop sex gore.
Okay, I have to see this. How long is it? 5
minutes. Clinical sodomy, it's called.
I could probably get a review out of that.
There you go.
You probably could, that's the thing of it. Well, actually, I think by the time you get to the kaleidoscopic vaginas in the sky...
Oh, yeah, there's lots of those.
I thought... like you do so often in real life.
I wish.
See, I thought the second story was kind of a metaphor for heroin use.
Yeah, well, it was.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I've never done heroin, but it was definitely that. Like, just drugs in general. Drug movies, really, in general. I don't really do drugs. Like, everyone thinks I do. I smoke weed every day, but that's it. Like, I don't even drink. Like, I've never done hard drugs. I've taken psychedelics in my time, but I'm kind of over that as well. Like, I haven't done that in years.
Yeah, I think I'm guilty of being one of the ones who assumed you were taking a lot of drugs of various kinds while making it.
I would eat weed cookies every day. At that point, like, I didn't even start doing marijuana until I was like 25, and that's kind of the same time I was making Tate and Milk. They happened at the same time. Was my first exposure to weed and my first exposure to cartoon animation. So that's how I explain a lot of that movie too. Is I was eating pot cookies. I don't remember much.
I would have assumed that would make you less likely to animate, weird gore and horrific sexual stuff.
I guess it has a different effect on me.
Oh.
Well, Liquid Memories was definitely based on like mushroom trips I had. Well, the feelings of mushroom trips, like just the way you feel when you take mushrooms.
And the voiceover, I'm guessing that was sort of vocalizing the feelings you were having.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it was kind of that kind of stuff.
See, I've never done any kind of hard psychedelics, but I did have a roommate who was a heroin fancier for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I can, I was thinking about him when we watched the second one. It just made me think of the kind of stuff he'd say sometimes.
Oh, maybe. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Like I said, I only.
I mean, he's fine now, apparently. I mean.
Well, that's good.
I mean, he may have, kaleidoscopic vagina experiences and just not talk about it on Facebook.
Well, it's like...
For all I know.
The Beatles talk about kaleidoscope skies. We got kaleidoscope vaginas in the sky.
I should call this episode that, but I think that might get me kicked off YouTube, or get me the wrong kind of subscription.
Lucy's vagina in the sky with diamonds. So, the third film, okay, you were told you had to make a third one in order to get it released as a feature film. What inspired that one? Because that, out of the three, that's the worst of the three, as a difficulty to watch, sort of, scale.
Well, part of it came from the fact that because I animated Tommy fucking a dog for 15 seconds, people were accusing me of making child pornography. And I was just like, how the fuck can you look at the kids humping the dog poorly, I might add, for 15 seconds and get child pornography from? Like, when I animated that scene, I did not even think of it as like as stupid as it's going to sound, I didn't even think of it as a sexual act. I just thought of it as like a way for Labby to finally take his soul. Like, that's kind of the reoccurring theme of all three chapters, is like people losing their souls to evil forces and how, kind of how they take them. So, that's what I was trying to go for in Tate and Milk, but, all I kept hearing about was those 10 seconds. Those 10 seconds. And it was just, child pornography was just in the news a lot at the time. It was just starting to surface, that 4chan users were posting it nonstop on that thing. That became a big problem. And, people were getting busted with it a lot, and it was just a topic a lot. And I realized that nobody really ever made a movie about it. So I tried to make the darkest movie possible, to try to make it, basically saying that this child abuse is the most fucked up possible thing you could possibly do. So I tried to make it dark, but then I would get guilty about that, so I would try to throw little jokes in here or there, which I realize now is what makes it really more offensive, is the fact that I did try to put jokes in here and there. Looking back on it now, it's all just kind of the whole movie was just a series of misfires because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just experimenting. So yeah, I mean that's the best I can explain it. I don't really know. Does that sum it up, or I don't know? Do you have more questions?
I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, out of the three of them,
because I wasn't I just want to be clear. I wasn't making it to like make fun of abused children or any of the other crazy things I'm being accused of. I mean, I certainly wasn't doing it to endorse child abuse. I want to make that clear too. Like just because the movie's about it doesn't mean that it endorses it whatsoever. And I think a lot of people kind of have been confusing that.
yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, the third one, out of the three, I'd say it's the most, for want of a better word, it's the most powerful of the three. It gets the most, for me personally, it gets the most emotional reaction out of me.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
It was more the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
Than the shock aspect, but I think I got a little lost.
But I have a question which I don't think I brought up in my review, but the time scale of the three films.
Yes.
They're not in order, are they, time-wise?
No, they're in the order I made them, but they're not in order chronologically.
Yeah, because I realized at some point, I think I mentioned, I had this idea about who each character was as an adult and if they were the same person as a child because of, but I wasn't entirely sure. Like the kid with the second face, and I can't remember his name, he was the figure in the cloak in at the end in the second one.
Yes.
Was I accurate about who each person was? I'm sorry, it's been a while since I did the review.
It's been a while since I've seen it, honestly, but basically, Tommy grows up to be the man in Liquid Memories. Mm-hmm. And then he's the hooker he kidnaps is the little girl in the third chapter, and when he steals her memories, he flashes back to her memories. And then, so it's basically like Tainted Milk and the third chapter, The Mask of the Monsters, where it's supposed to be taking place at the same time, and then Liquid Memories is flashing back to the same time. So all that's supposed to be the same night. And then Liquid Memories is supposed to be way, way far in the future.
That sounds like I think I interpreted it pretty much right then. Go
yes,
me!
I think I think you basically did, yes.
Although, then I have a question. Why is it that they had to get the Tommy in the first film, he had to go to school when it was clearly still nighttime?
You know what, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I remember when I was making it, like, that didn't occur to me, and then I got really worried about it. And I asked my friends, I was like, is it weird to anybody that he's walking to school at night? Because I just realized that now. And they're like, no, nobody will ever notice that. And I was like, okay, good.
Maybe he lives above the Arctic
And then
Circle.
You were the only person
like
who ever reviewed
9
it
a.m.
who noticed that. And it kind of made me really happy. I was like, good, she's paying attention at least.
Yeah. Well, I kind of have to. It takes me quite a bit to write one of those scripts, so I have to. Unless I actually skip over a bit, I tend to notice everything.
Well, I'm just happy you actually watched the movie, because I'm convinced at least half of the reviewers didn't get all the way through it, or just flipped through it.
Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me.
And I'm happy that you said you ordered it, because I'm sure half of the other reviewers didn't pay for it.
Well, yeah, I have to order.
So at least I got your dollar.
Well, you always, if you review a film, you always buy it.
Almost always, yeah. I've very, very rarely been sent films. I know Sean Weathers, who does, he's a New York-based guy, does exploitation films. He sent me a bunch of his films and basically said, please review one of my films. So I was like, okay. So in my upcoming, probably before the end of the year, is my review of his movie Hookers in Revolt, which is Animal Farm with prostitutes.
Mm.
And it's actually really, really good. You wouldn't think that would be a good idea, but actually it works.
Yeah.
I don't know him, but I'm in that scene, so I know of him. His stuff's pretty wild. I've seen some of it here and there, and some of our mutual actor people are in it.
Hey, have you seen his They All Must Die?
That's the only one I think I've seen. Yes, that's the shot on video rape revenge one, right?
Yeah, the I Spit on Your Grave remake, basically. Yes. That one, when I watched it, when I watched it for the first time, I had to ask him questions about this because we interviewed him previously, and If I didn't know that he was black whenever I was watching that film, I would have assumed it was made by a white supremacist.
I could kind of see that.
And seeing it, I had to agree with you.
Except they are raping a black girl, from what I remember, right?
No, it's a white girl.
Nope, never mind. I don't remember the movie, right?
But it wasn't that sort of made me wonder that. It was the fact that during the bit when she's getting revenge on the black guys, it cuts to there's like 1 or 2 framed shots cut in there of still images of lynchings.
Yes, I remember that part.
And so the only logical reason I could think of for why that was there is the director's trying to say that compare lynchings to these guys being killed, but these guys being killed, according to the narrative, they're deserving it, so lynchings were deserved, therefore this was made by a racist, but I know the guy's black. So I asked him about this, and his answer was, I put it there so people wouldn't know what to think.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he did it. You didn't know what to think.
Yes.
He got you.
I don't think anyone knew what to think, quite honestly.
Okay. So, if you have any more about do you have any more interesting stuff to say about Whether I Could Die? Because I know you've got, I forget her name, but she played Trash in Return of the Living Dead, isn't she in it?
Yes, Linnea Quigley. She does. She only has like 1 or 2 lines, but she is in it. Yes, she's in Liquid Memory. She plays the mother, the flashback mother.
Yeah, I was like, I'm telling you, I showed you Return of the Living Dead, didn't I?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I was sure I did.
Shame on you.
I was sure I did.
Just goes to show.
You know,
I'm sure you've seen Linnea Quigley in something, though. She's been in pretty much every 80s horror movie ever. She's in pretty much all of them.
Return is one where you see the most of her, shall we say.
Yes.
But I was really impressed.
Wait, was that the one where the girl strips on the grave?
That's her.
That's the one.
Yeah, then we did see it.
Yes,
okay.
honey, that's who I'm talking about.
Okay. I see.
So did you have anyone else in it? Because I think you got a couple other interesting cameos, but
Trent Haga was in it, who's Trauma. He's in a lot of Trauma's movies, like Terror Firmer. You ever see Terror Firmer?
Oh, yes, I have a copy of that.
So do you know who Trent Haga is, then?
I think I know who you're talking about.
He's the one who plays Jerry, the
killer?
Not the killer, the other one, the special effects guy who...
Oh, yeah.
He's the one in love with the girl. And then he's also in Citizen Toxie as well. He plays one of the diaper mafia guys.
Was he in Romeo and Juliet as well?
No. You're thinking of the killer from Terror Firmer still.
I thought he was in it as well. Okay.
His first movie was Terror Firmer, and he joined Trauma from then on out. Then he moved from them to Full Moon, and he plays Killjoy in all the Killjoy movies.
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to review one of the Killjoy movies.
I'm sure if you looked up his IMDb, you'd see that you saw a dozen or so of his movies. He's just another one of those guys who's in like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like 100 movie IMDb credit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was just the way I got him was he was just somebody I really admired because he co-wrote a lot of the Make Your Own Damn Movie books with Lloyd Kaufman. And I just remember when I was starting out, I read those books and I always thought his stuff was the most helpful. Because he was the only one at the time talking about like digital cinema and everything. Because everybody else in the book was like, everything has to be shot on film or it's not a movie. And he'd be like, you can shoot a movie on digital and it'll come out okay. And they're like, fuck you don't know what you're talking about, kid. So I always admired him, and I just kind of wrote to him, which is how I got pretty much every actor, like any kind of cameo is pretty much how I just send people weird emails at 6 a.m. when reality is not really reality anymore. And then I wake up and hope they responded. And, 8 times out of 10 they do. So that's how I got Trent Haga. That's all. Wow. With The Go Dies, I met my friend M. Strange, who's another independent animator. He did We Are the Strange. And,
yes, my friend Owen Citizen reviewed We Are the Strange.
Okay. I do voices in some of his movies, too. I'm in Heartstring Marionette and I Am Nightmare. And then everyone else is just people from the indie community, like Ruby LaRocca, Victor Bonacore, just people I knew, basically.
I'm so jealous because we don't have an indie community of filmmakers over here.
Yeah.
There's like 3.
Yeah.
In my new movie, I have David Firth. He's from the UK.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's somebody from your hometown. He was another one I just wrote to at 6 a.m. Surprisingly said yes, much to my surprise as anybody else's.
Well, when you're making the next one, I am demanding a cameo as self, because just imagine the amazing metaness when I review it.
Exactly. I'll put you in it. We'll have to write to you at 6 a.m. though.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't work. So Linnea Quigley I didn't write to, though. She was somebody who, at the time I was working with my friends Victor and Ruby a lot on movies, and he had her in one of his movies, and she was just happened to be in town. So I was like, hey, while you're here, while you're here working on this movie, you want to come with me into this closet for a second and record this?
Oh, wasn't that the...
Come with me into the closet, sure, it'll be grand.
Yeah, there's an extra feature on the DVD of me interviewing her and stuff first, which surprisingly offended people more than the movie somehow. But...
Yeah, I've seen that footage, that extra feature. I was going to ask if that was her. Okay.
Yep, that was her.
Yeah. Now, God damn it, I had a really, really interesting question to answer, but it wasn't interesting enough to remember. It's
Nope.
You always do this when we interview people. You're like, the thing, and I died.
Oh.
Well, I have a question, so what are you working on now?
Well, I just finished up my second feature film, When Blackbirds Fly, so I've been working on getting a distro deal for that. I'm pretty close. I can't say with who, but I'm pretty close. But I've also just, in the last few weeks, I started a short film. I made this short film a few years back called Affection. It's on YouTube. And the whole thing, what I did with that short was I wanted to see what I can do in 30 days. So I'm trying to do that again. So I'm seeing if I can make another short in 30 days.
Oh, it's like a NaNoWriMo, the writing challenge. It's like that.
Yeah, I guess. Except that there's no real reward at the end. Except I get to upload it to YouTube and then go, oops, somebody watches it and doesn't call me an asshole.
But
That's pretty much how NaNoWriMo goes as well. It's like, I wrote 50,000 words in a month, and everyone's like, okay, and? Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
I did it.
And
Everyone's like, oh.
This new one that you're hopefully going to get the distribution deal for. If I remember correctly, that's when you offered me the chance to do to play some random screams in it, but I was too busy at the time to record them. Probably,
yes. That was the one I was taking. I for like 6 months or so, I just put a thing on my website. It was like, hey, anybody who wants to play, crowds, and, just gave instructions on how to ad-lib and what to say and everything. And surprisingly, I got like 20-something people sent stuff in. And actually, oddly enough, one of the people who sent stuff in was Adam Brooks from Astron 6.
Ah!
It was right before both his movies came out, and he wrote to me. He was a fan of Where the Dead Go to Die. He's like, can I be in your next movie? I was like, fuck, I don't have any more parts left. He was like, do you want to do this? So he plays a couple townspeople in that film.
I fucking love Astron 6.
Yeah, he's a super nice dude too. Like, I don't know him too well, but we've chatted back and forth, and he's a super nice guy.
What do you think the chances are we could possibly get him on an interview?
I don't know, because I tried to get him on me and M. Strange's podcast we did for a while, and he wasn't too into it. So I don't. No. I mean, I can give you his contact info, and you can try, but.
If it's not his thing and you already knew him, then probably not. Probably just leave him alone. That's a pity, though. I've reviewed one of his ones, Manborg.
Yes. I love Father's Day is my favorite of their stuff. I think Father's Day is incredible.
It's on my list as well. I haven't seen the editor yet.
Oh, you haven't seen Father's Day yet?
Oh, no. Father's Day is on my review list. I'm going to review it. But I haven't seen the editor yet.
I have not either, though he did send me some pictures and stuff when they were shooting it. He sent me some behind-the-scenes images and it looks really awesome.
They're brilliant.
They are so talented.
Yeah, they're really cool guys too. I never talked to any of the other ones, but he's really cool.
I know one of the members of the guy who played Fuckman in Father's Day. He apparently is a fan of my show, or was. He sent me him or someone pretending to be him sent me a message on YouTube.
I think isn't Adam Brooks a fan of your show too? I thought I saw him posting about it before.
Has he?
I don't know, or you guys posting together or something. I thought you two knew each other.
No.
I'd say write to him on Twitter. You never know. He might have just been busy when I wrote to him too, because they were shooting the editor at the time. So I don't know.
I'm gonna have to investigate to see if Adam Brooks has mentioned me on Twitter. I will have to Google through this.
Oh God, I might be wrong.
I just
broke your gentle heart. I can ask some people though if you want to get horror people to interview.
It would be interesting at some point. I mean, I love going to conventions related to the review community, but they're always anime and video games conventions, and they're nice conventions to go to. But I'm really interested in film and horror and stuff.
Yeah.
We went to Con Bravo last month in Toronto, and I'm trying to push that next year Con Bravo asks Astron 6 to come.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least someone from Astron 6, because, they're Canadians, they're local, and they're fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I don't go as much as I used to, but I used to go to a lot of horror movie conventions, both as like a vendor and as a regular patron or whatever. It's a good way to meet people, especially like directors and stuff. Like, I became friendly with Fred Vogel from August Underground movies because of going to conventions and stuff.
Oh, I watched August Underground recently.
Mm-hmm. Lots of you meet lots of just people in the scene and the industry that way.
Yeah, our friend Count Jacula, he's in San Francisco and he goes to all sorts of ones over in LA. Apparently,
he knows like everybody in the world.
Yeah, he knows quite a bit. Apparently, he doesn't know him very well, but he's run into a couple of times Ron Atkins, who did the Schizophrenic, the Horror-Mangler movies.
Yes, and he did a movie with Jim Van Beber as well. Jim Van Beber is another. I worked on a documentary. I didn't direct it. My friend Victor Bonacourt directed a documentary about Jim Van Beber, and I helped out and did stuff and hung out with Jim for a while. Have you ever seen any of his stuff, like Deadbeat at Dawn and Charlie's Family? Manson Family, it's called now.
I haven't seen any. Oh wait, I've seen his Manson Family film. I haven't seen any of the other stuff, but I have seen the Cuckoo Clocks of Hell, where he was the Schizophrenic 3 sequel to Last House on Dead End Street. He is, as I've only seen one of his films, so it's hard to compare. But as far as I can tell, he's basically considered a better director than most exploitation directors.
Van Beber?
Mainstream. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you haven't seen Deadbeat at Dawn, you should really check that one out. If you want a more horror one, his short film, it's the one based on Ricky Kuso. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm ashamed of myself for not being able to remember it. But if you look him up on IMDb, you'll find it. And I think you should check those two out for sure.
I definitely want to check out his stuff. Like I've wish listed several of his films. It's just they can be a little bit expensive over here. Because I'm over in Ireland.
Yes. Shipping.
Not only are you in Ireland, we are in the ass of Ireland. Like, literally, we don't exist. Like, if you get something from Amazon.co.uk, and it's like, oh, next day delivery, add 5 to 7 business days for the North. And I'm like, literally, we are about as far away. We're about the length of, not even the length of the state of Pennsylvania away from England. But you'd think we were Australia, for Christ's sake.
Oh.
If the Irish Sea wasn't there, you could drive it in a few hours.
You could. Northern Ireland is about 20 miles away from Scotland.
I've never been to the UK.
And yet, 50 quid to fly, but I'm just saying.
I've never been to the UK, but one time I was in Switzerland, and I was flying to the UK, and you'll never guess who I shared the plane with.
Oh dear, who?
David Icke. I went up to him, I was like, are you David Icke? He's like, I sure am. I was like, oh my god! And I talked to him for like 10 minutes. It was the safest flight I ever felt on, because I didn't really like flying, but I was like, God wouldn't take down a plane with David Icke on it.
Okay, that was just random.
I know. I'm a random person.
We never meet any famous people on airplanes. We only meet assholes and people with small children.
That was the only time I ever met anyone famous in my travels.
I met Armando Iannucci in an airport once. He's the guy who did In the Thick of It and In the Loop, and he created the show Veep in American TV.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I also met. I didn't meet her because I have this thing. If I come across a celebrity in real life, I don't bother them unless it's they're at a con or something. Yeah. So I just sort of realized they're there. So at a motorway service station, I met or came across Michael Gambon, but didn't bother him. Another one on a train. It was like Jermaine Greer. It was weird. I was at university in England every year.
I have heard that name before. I've heard Mark Steele say it.
She's an Australian second-wave feminist writer.
Oh.
But when I was at university in England, every single year I would run into someone famous at just random thing, and I wouldn't bother them because they were just being a regular person.
Yeah, I don't really like to do it either, but it was fucking David Icke. It's like,
I'll
never see this guy again.
Definitely not judging.
I was totally like, I wanted to take out my camera, like, can I take a picture with you? But I felt too weird. He was super nice though. Like I didn't ask him anything about Reptoids or anything, though I should have. He mainly asked about like. I was with my girlfriend, and we were I was doing like a DJ tour. It was when I was still doing music, and we were on our way to Holland. And he was like, "Where are you guys going?" We're like, "Oh, we're going to Holland." And he looks at me and then looks at it and goes, "Holland was made for you too." And I was like, "Are you calling me a stoner, David Icke?"
Oh, that's
yeah,
brilliant.
it was good times. It's one of my happy memories. Glad I could share it.
Remind me to liquidize it and steal it from you.
There you go. One time I met David Icke on a plane.
Oh, did you know that one of Hagen's fans made one of the little eye monster creatures?
Yes, I have
into a
one
plushie?
right in front of me.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, she said she got you one as well.
Yeah, I had the right to her, and she's like, I don't know if I want to be friends with you, but all right, here.
Oh.
Remember at a con, she was like, look, and I was like, oh, why isn't that awesome?
No, she was totally nice, but I could
over
tell she was a
here.
little creeped out by me. I tried to be as nice as possible, like I always do, but it never works. I was like, you're the guy who animated that kid fucking the dog. I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, I am that guy. So
part of me is wondering about the hypocrisy that some people can react to you because of whether they're going to die. These same people who apparently don't react nastily to me, even though some of the shit that's in my videos, although I don't put it on screen because I don't have people willing to do the stuff on screen, but I do a lot of horrible stuff just off screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they should at least treat me just as nastily.
Well, I think it's a little different because you're reviewing the nasty stuff on screen. You're not making people poop on each other or whatever's going on. So you're only slightly crazier.
Well, there was in my bad biology review, I had one character sort of force them to have sex with their sibling and then murder them, and then stuff like that. Usually it's related to what's going on in the film in some way, but my character does absolutely really horrible things, and yet people are just like, they don't react like that to me.
Because I think you're more tongue in cheek too.
Scary.
Yeah, you're not scary. You're funny. It's not a scary kind of thing.
This is true, although some people, based on some stuff I've read online, apparently I'm absolutely terrifying to some people, which I find really bizarre.
Some people are scared of a lot of weird things.
Well, you are tall.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I'm short.
Are you an intimidating person? Like, do you go to these cons and just start smacking bitches and like, get out of my way! Hagen's here! Is that why they're scared of you? Because that could do it.
No, apparently I'm much nicer in person than I am in character.
Well, yeah.
They dope you up before you go out. They inject you full of tranquilizers. You're like, yay, everything's good.
What happened really funny at Con Bravo, I had a cosplayer dressed up as me, and at least some people thought that he was me. So some people are like, you're much shorter than I heard.
You don't have the Irish accent.
Which was great.
Well, you do have some accent. You have an odd accent.
Oh, no, I meant the impersonator probably didn't have the accent.
Oh. No, yeah, that's true.
Diamanda's got a little bit of an accent.
A weird accent.
A weird accent.
It's because your parents are Scottish.
Possibly. But is there anything that we have neglected to mention that you think that we should mention? Or anything we plan to mention I have forgotten because I'm an idiot?
I have short-term memory loss. I already don't even remember what I said, so it's totally up to you girls. Whatever you want from me, I'm here.
Okay.
What was that laugh about?
That's my evil laugh.
That's like, I'm gonna get Jimmy to do something horrible.
Well,
you heard it live here, folks. He said he's up for it.
Yes, you heard it here, folks, earlier on, and he can't remember it, but Jimmy Screamer Claus promised to have sex with the dog.
That's right, I will. Bring me your dog, I'll fuck it.
Please do not write that down.
So, where can people find your stuff that's not in my review?
The stuff that's not stand? Where can they be?
Well, I have a YouTube channel where 90% of it is. Really, the only thing that's not on there at this point is the Butcher's Harem video, which you could find on Newgrounds, and there's at least somebody who uploads it to YouTube once a month, and then it gets taken down again. But it's kind of funny because it's become like in the days of tape trading, like every time you copy a tape, the generation loss, it would get like worse and worse quality. For some reason, every time somebody rips it and re-uploads it to YouTube, the quality gets worse and worse and worse. So like whenever it's up on YouTube, there's like a 140p version of it, and because I did it right after Where the Dead Go to Die, so the animation was still kind of crappy. So like it looks even crappier when it's 140p version. But if you look around, you can find it. And then I have a website too, where if you buy anything from my store, I send a DVD art of all my shorts and stuff, and some shorts by people involved with the movie, some of my weird friends and stuff.
Oh,
So, yeah.
cool. And I'm gonna have to bother you about getting a copy of that short.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because I am seriously interested in watching it and possibly doing a review, though it wouldn't be for a while, because I got the next, 20-odd episodes worked out as a mixture of my season, other ones I promised to do, and, Patreon videos, because people are like, I give you more than a certain amount of money a month, therefore I get to choose what you review.
Oh my god, you're the slave to the mankind.
Now I am. But it's okay. At least one of these people has demanded a film I was going to review anyway. Six String Samurai!
The heard round.
Do you like all these movies, Omega?
Some of them.
Or does she force you to watch all these horrible things?
Well, no, because some of them are really amazing, like Virginia Varma, which was so gung-ho patriotism, for India, that I literally wanted to take up arms against Pakistani terrorists myself by the end of it. I was like, yeah! India's gonna get you! And Black Sheep, which was just
I haven't
wonderful
seen that
and awesome.
Yet.
It's in Australia. Is Australian or New
Zealand?
Yeah, I've heard of
It's
it.
a
The
New
Killer
Zealand,
Sheep movie, right?
Horror comedy, but it's all that and more.
Yeah, and because of Patreon, she's going to watch Brain Dead, otherwise known as Dead Alive.
Oh, that's a classic, though.
Yeah, she's never seen it before.
Wow. Are you going to watch the extended Brain Dead cut or the Dead Alive cut?
Well, over in Ireland, we have the British cut, which is the same as the original New Zealand cut.
There you go. That's the one to watch.
Yeah! So I was telling...
I've seen some early Peter Jackson. I've seen Meet the Feebles.
As much as I love the concept of Meet the Feebles, I never felt like the movie really lived up to it, to be completely honest. I love Peter Jackson's early work, but for some reason that one just never...
Even the Sodomy song?
No, I don't know why. Just everything on screen feels like something I would like, but every time I watch it, I'm just like, eh. I love Bad Taste. I love Brain Dead. I love The Frighteners. But just that one, for some reason, eludes me.
That's like, I don't know if you're familiar with him, the Cinema Snob?
Yeah, I know of him. I haven't seen a whole lot of his videos, though.
He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy, but he did a vlog about Hobo with a Shotgun, and talked about how much he hated it. And
Really?
he even had the line in his vlog saying, this film is I'm not even sure why I dislike this film. Everything in it's everything was chosen to appeal to me, and yet I don't like it. He spent a couple of minutes just wondering aloud why he doesn't like it.
But he doesn't really like those kind of movies, right? That's why he makes fun of them, or is he into those kind of things?
But he knows. He's seen everything ever in the world.
Oh, he's a massive exploitation and low-budget filmmaker fan.
Oh, okay. Because it's hard. It's just kind of hard to tell with those reviewer people sometimes if they're reviewing them because they don't like that sort of thing, or if they do like that sort of thing and they're finding humor in it. It's kind of you'd really never know who.
Well, with generally as a rule of thumb with the internet reviewer ones, if they have a particular niche of a type of film, they're generally into that, even if they pretend their character isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brad, Cinema Snob, he is massively into exploitation. He sees his character as more insulting and parodying pretentious film snobs. He said the inspiration was people, elitist film snobs, how they reacted to, say, Salò compared to how they reacted to something that was much more low budget, and how they were like, Salò's great, but this is terrible, and that's what he was parodying, I think.
I understand. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's a good guy. But what's the time on the clock, honey?
We are coming up to the end of our viewing day.
Oh, no.
Or listening day, as it were.
Oh, it's all over. All the months of preparation.
Yes. And before we go, I just want to apologize again for the inadvertent pain I've caused.
In one way, it's been a kind of a hassle, but in another way, it makes people talk about the movie, and that's never a bad thing.
That's true. Did you notice a spike in the numbers after the review?
Certainly. One? Certainly. I've definitely noticed spikes, just, not always positive spikes, but certainly spikes.
Well, that's good, I suppose. Well, it's like whenever I do a review, a crossover with, say, the Cinema Snob or Spoonie or the Nostalgia Critic, I always get a massive spike in views, but I always get a massive spike in people who hate me. So,
yes.
Similar feeling, okay.
There's definitely people,
oh my God,
people who hate me.
You did the thing with with Spoonie. Oh my God! I thought people were going to send a lynch mob across the country.
Why? What, did you say something they didn't like, or they just didn't like your character?
Spoonie's fans, Spoonie and Brad's fans are incredibly, they have a tendency to hate anyone who's not Spoonie. and people generally have a visceral anti-reaction to me anyway. I'm pretty niche. And it was sort of a mixture of those two things. With the nostalgia.
So where would you say your fan base comes from? Do you think it's more from the nostalgia critic fans or more like horror fans?
Well, it's internet reviewer fans, but
Yes.
I don't think anyone started watching internet reviews because of me. But there's the amount of internet reviewers. A lot of internet reviewer fans just find it difficult to watch. Either I don't know if it's the stuff I review, or it's the way I do the character, or the fact that they look different, or whatever. But they seem to have a visceral, loud anti-reaction to me. But the minority, when they seem to like me, they seem to like me a lot.
Yes, that's the way you want it, though. It's like the love-hate kind of thing. Like, people either really, really love it, or they really, really hate it. And that's kind of where you want to be. Because otherwise, I think anything else is pretty much forgettable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have very little fair weather fans.
Yeah, you never want to just be okay. You either want to be loved or hated.
That's a good way to go for it.
You don't want to be in the middle. The middle's boring.
And that is your takeaway, ladies and gentlemen. Be either loved or hated.
In a couple of months, we'll see what's going on with that, because I have a crossover coming up with Linkara, probably the biggest comic reviewer in the internet reviewing community. And at some point in the next probably like 5 or 6 months, I got another crossover with Nostalgia Critic. He sent me the notes. It's on my show this time.
Whoa.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
He's coming to your land.
Yeah, we're reviewing something Australian, bitch.
No, it's Filipino.
No, this is Nostalgia Critic.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about this.
Yeah.
I got confused.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we had to watch that one too. That was not as good. Yeah, it's really evident that Nicole Kidman became the breakout actor from that movie. Because the other two kids, the two main character kids, were Australian, but it sounded like they had learned their lines in English phonetically. That
movie is being expanded.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that movie. I know which one she's talking about. I couldn't place the title, though.
I remember crossover with Film Brain as well. Like, he's not as big as Linkara or Nostalgia Critic, but he's bigger than me, so I'm expecting some abuse from there as well. As we review the most epic children's film ever, Merlin the Return.
Whoa.
Oh, it's so bad.
Which the very end features one of the heroes doing a rape joke about Tia Carrere at the end. That's the very end of the film. Tia Carrere rape joke.
Like, wow, so that happened in this movie for kids?
I'm surprised nobody's really done the children's movie Purple People Eater just yet. Because I tried to watch it again recently.
I remember that!
I tried to rewatch it
Oh my
recently,
god, I remember
and
that!
it was really bad. Like, really bad.
I remember watching that, like, on one of the Disney Channel free-to-watch weekends.
Mm-hmm. It was so bad.
Oh my god.
Like, I love that. Like, I love the Garbage Pail Kids not ironically. Like, I genuinely love that movie, but I could not get through Purple People Eater as much as I tried.
I reckon someone's probably done it, because the internet reviewing community is really broad, and the famous ones are just like the few biggest ones. There's a hell of a lot of people who do stuff who aren't as famous.
Yeah.
Like I myself, I'd put myself down like maybe C or D list compared to like Doug and all who are on the A list.
All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
I kind of just mix you guys all up in the one pile.
We have our own hierarchy, some people are taken seriously. Like, Doug's flown across the Atlantic to go to cons. No one's ever flown me anywhere to go to a con. There's one con.
I have.
Well, okay.
I've paid for you to go to cons.
You flew me over to visit you. Nah. But there's, Ireland occasionally has me, go to cons there, but that's because I'm like $50 away by bus. Yay, 8 hours in a bus.
Well, people, when I used to do music, people used to fly me all across the country, and sometimes it was awesome. There was a lot of people there, but then there was the other 8 out of 10 times when you'd go and play for 5 people at 4 in the morning. So don't feel too bad. It's not always worth it flying around all over the place.
Yeah, but it's nice to feel wanted.
It is. It's nice to feel good for a weekend.
But anyway.
But just that one time at the convention where you're special and so are all your friends.
Yeah, it's like being a part-time celebrity. It's really odd.
A part-time celebrity. That should be the title of today's episode.
You're very into the title.
You have to have a good one that's like eye-catching so people click on it and then close the window like 5 minutes later. But still.
Do you know what would be really, really eye-catching, honey? An interview with the director of Where the Dead Gonna Die, and Where the Dead Gonna Die in massive caps. So people will be all like, oh, god damn it, we gotta hear this!
Or you could just do like everyone else on YouTube and just type "worst animated movie ever" in the title.
Why is it?
I'll tag it that way.
That
so
seems
that way
to work.
People will want that.
Anyway, I cannot wait to see your new film. Whenever it gets a distribution deal, do you think it'll be available via Amazon? Cause
Yes.
Okay, I want to buy it the old school way.
Should I sign this deal? It'll be pretty much all the places where the Dead Go to Die was, which, surprisingly, I don't even know if I should admit this out loud, but you can buy Where the Dead Go to Die in Walmart.
You can?
You can.
Wait a minute, I thought that they censor the fuck out of everything.
Well, you can buy it on their website. It might not make it into the stores, but you can order it to your...
Mama, I want to buy this.
If you go on,
all right,
if you go on your local Walmart site, you can order it straight to the store for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
Or Target. Target's got it too. Oh, got
Target's
it.
not as low.
Target's like the slightly more liberal Walmart.
Slightly more liberal.
But if anybody buys them from my site, I write fucked up stories on the back of DVDs. And if you go on IMDb, there's a 12-year-old who tries to assert that I'm mentally ill due to one of the stories that I wrote on the back of his DVD.
Wow.
Did he try to assert that? Did he stop being your fan or something? Or he's like, I love his films, but you know.
All I know is he wrote this 3-page review tearing me and the movie apart, and then he's like, and listen to this story he wrote on the back of this DVD, and then he types the story verbatim, like, what kind of sick, mentally ill person would come up with something like that?
Why would he order your film from your website if he's not already a fan?
I don't know. People are nuts. People are
Okay.
So, yeah. So, mental illness and dog fucking. And that brings us to the end of episode 91.
Sums me up perfectly.
We want to thank Jimmy Shrimaclaws for being with us. And
I would like to thank you.
Not killing any of us.
I would like to thank you.
And not fucking any dogs.
I would like to thank you, lovely ladies, for allowing me to be a person on this thing.
And I would be delighted to have you on it later on whenever the new film comes out so we can discuss it and stuff like that, although I'm pretty sure Omega would rather throw plates at me than watch it.
Well, there's,
throw plates at anyone.
As much as I gotta play up the horror elements, it's not nearly as offensive as the first movie, and there's absolutely nothing about child abuse in it, so you're good in those aspects.
So always a plus.
Yes.
Always a
I
plus.
made my child abuse movie. I'm never doing that again. That was a one-time thing. I did it once. I can move on with my life now.
So that has been us for this week. I have been the Omega, and honey, who do you want to have been this week?
I have been Jimmy Screamer Claus.
You lying liar, you have not. He's been here with us the whole time. Pick again.
Labby.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We'll see y'all next week.